Okay, so good morning, everybody. Thanks again for your assistance, for your interest and the effort to be here all together. I will continue with the visualization part. We started very briefly yesterday with this visualization editor. Remember, we can connect locally to this editor from the BMS server, or maybe remotely. It's possible to connect to another BMS platform, but here we are locally connected with my own BMS server. We have to log in to my server using, for example, this profile, admin and change me by default password. And then, well, we started yesterday just explaining a bit the different windows we have in the visualization editor. And we just created one page, included an image in the background, like as you can see, and a small tag here. Also, I think we have the temperature, external temperature here, and another label here, and just one button to show that it's very easy to incorporate these kind of elements for a whatever office, whatever, for example, a central lighting control for one office. But today we are going to make this a bit more sophisticated and complex. So I will delete, well, okay, let me keep this button here because I will copy paste this in another page. But I will show you how can we control everything in my practical boards. So you can remember, I will put on the camera for a few seconds. Remember that we have behind us a lot of information in terms of controlling lights and shutters and temperatures and luminosity and another amount of elements. Also, we have in BACnet, in our BACnet controller here, a lot of small outputs that will represent the do not disturb and makeup room buttons. So we will be able, and I promise it's not a joke, in 1 hour, we will be able to integrate the control of all this and in a very easy way, because we have done a good job structuring or creating a good structure of these data points. So this is my aim of today, is to show you how can we do some magic with our BMS. But it's not magic, it's NETx, okay? This is what we used to say. But we need to understand this kind of controls and the tools that we are using. So imagine that our hotel 4 floors hotel is this left image, the left part of this nice background that we have here. So imagine that I want to access to any of the 4 floors from here. Okay, so the first thing I will do is to create a page, one page, new one. Okay, let me create a page for a floor. Okay, floor, but not floor 1, floor 2, floor 3, floor 4, no, any floor will be able to be represented here because we are going to use variables. This is a very interesting concept. Floor, whatever. I don't need to create 4 pages for the 4 floors I have. I will only create 1. Okay, this is my page, floor page. Remember that we could do the edition of this page in this view, for example, while we keep, okay, main is for init and view 2 for floor. It's possible to edit both pages at the same time. So it will be possible. Okay, I can do it. I can try. But normally we're focusing on one page only, but it's okay. I will create, I will put a background image here, double click to edit properties of this image. A picture that I can find easily. I have to include this NETx demo pictures in the Dropbox. I promise to do. But will be this element, a plan that you will see now if I put the right size. and position this in the corner. This is my plan. Now you see it, and I put it in the background. Okay, that's right. So this will be my floor. So I will put a label indicating which floor it is, but it's intended to be for any floor. So it will be a text that will say floor, whatever. So how to indicate different numbers for the floors? The answer is using a variable. Okay, so let me just put floor here, apply floor, and then let's start talking about variables. So we have the windows, the windows in the button is now created for variables. We have already, as you can see, workspace, different variables already created, language, guest name, group name, project ID, whatever. Okay, already created, and also for the page. So workspace variables, page variables, we will see that we have a lot of different variables. And we could use this NXA floor ID, for example, as the variable we are using in this project. But in my examples, normally I just to explain how to create a variable and how to use it. So if you don't mind, I will create my own variable for my examples. It will be new, and my variable will be called F for floor. So it's more or less like what we did in the past examples. No? But the question is that we have different kinds of variables in the knowledge base. If you try to search for variables in visualization, you will find more than 20 types, I think, about 20 types of variables. So it's really, really sophisticated. But what I'm going to do is just use F as a page variable for my floor number. So this is what I'm going to indicate here, floor, and then the variable. I had copied the variable link, and as you can see here is a key, where is the F, my variable name, but indicating PG means page variable. So this is the kind of variable is indicated with PG. You will see that we could have a WS for workspace variable, or GR for group variable, or other kind of variables. OB for object variable. We have several kinds of variables, and we are going to use some of this in these examples. So I just apply. Okay, this is my floor, whatever. Okay, but we have a variable in my project that I'm going to use. And then I will focus on the first page. So let me close this view. I'm not now interested in seeing this. I will focus on my first an init page for the next step. So now I need some links, some elements to trigger an opening of my floor page. So I need to say, okay, if I am the responsible in the hotel management, I want to see floor number 2, floor number 3, or whatever. I need elements that can trigger this floor page and giving values for this variable. So I need to do this jump to page using elements. We have, in fact, 3 possibilities to do this. One is the link area, but I'm not going to use a link area because it's rectangular. The shape of my building is 3D, so it's not exactly properly fitting to this page. But a link area is a typical thing a typical element that you use for this. Link area, typically go to page, and then you select which page you want to go. It could be floor, init, or forward, back, home page. That's really nice. But it's not the case. I will not use this. Another possibility, and I will delete this afterwards, is to use a button. Buttons are really nice and powerful elements. You may think, no, this is awful, but don't worry. This button can be converted, and there is really, really powerful element. One of the possibilities is to use this for go to page again. And in the appearance, you can say the opacity is 0. So transparent area clickable. So it's like a link area, more or less. So it's identical functionality. So this is a second possibility to use this element path. There is a third one that is, I will delete this. The third one is the polygon. And this is the one I am going to use, because a polygon, you can decide what are the, sorry, because if you do double click, it's not working. So, okay, polygon dot 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 double click, and you create your polygon. It's not perfect, but it's 5 a.m. remember, for me. But you can create this element, this polygon, and it can triggers go to page, etc. So this is a very nice option to do this. And then maybe you can think, okay, let me define, I will go to floor using a second view in the runtime, not only for edition, you can use different views for runtime. And as you can see, we have variables in the page we are going to with this element. So these variables are not for this page, are for the floor page we are going to be. So we can give values to this variable, for example, and I say, okay, this element will be to go to floor number 1. Okay, I can put here value 01. That is my floor number in my project, 01. This could be the typical thing or the normal thing to do. But I will give you another tip here. I will do another variable. I will create a variable for this graphical element that is an object. So we can also create variables for an object, and you will understand why I'm doing this in a minute. I will create a variable, let's say whatever, a name. Let me create, for example, a variable for this element can be NR for number. Okay, I just want to create a variable called number to give this number using this variable. So instead of using a fixed value here, I will give the value of this object variable number and R. And why I'm doing this? Because if I do this way, I can give the value here 01. So the value has to be given. That's right. But also there is a very interesting functionality here, that is the tooltip or hypertext. So when I am, let me show you, in runtime, and I pass the mouse over here, I have a tooltip that is telling me floor and no information because I haven't filled this tooltip, this hypertext. So using this variable, I can customize. So I have another window, very interesting, that is object properties. I will put it here. Object properties are really interesting. So if I select this, I can modify several things. One, for example, is the custom tooltip. And then I can say, go to floor, and oops, I'm not writing anything. Go to floor, and then I can put here this object variable. So doing this, I am doing two things in one shot. Filling this and then just copy pasting. I am copy paste this element for second floor. I just have to put here value 02. And if I copy paste this element that is more or less fitting, and if not, I can move just my dots a little bit, slightly. I just put here, this is number 3. And if I copy paste this element more or less, I can just move. It's not perfect, I know, but enough. I have this, that is number 4. So I did the job once, editing this, go to page floor in a second view and using this variable. And the only thing I have to do now using this object variable is to fill these values. Every element has value 01, 02, let me check, 03, and 04. And now let me show you how this works. If I start, I will put the border of these elements. But as you can see, the tooltip is working. Go to floor, whatever. And if I press, I am in floor 3, or seems like I am in floor 2, 4, or 1. So this variable is working fine. But this is not only for representing the number of the floor. I am giving value to this variable. So if I do it again, I will give value for the, not only for the floor number, but also for the room number. So the next step is, okay, let's do the same for the room number. So last thing is to quit the border. Okay, I can just select new, apply changes, so I don't have to close and open windows, editing windows in the visualization editor. It's much faster than you may think. Okay, quit, sorry. Border, out, and the last, out. No borders now, so it's almost perfect, but let's go and let's work within the floor. And now creating a new page, imagine, for the room. New page here, room. We have 8 rooms. Oh, sorry, room again, room. But whatever room will be, imagine that the aspect of the room is exactly the same. In a real hotel, maybe we can have 2, 3, 4, 5 different kind of rooms. So 1 page for room, that's okay. So again, I will work giving a background image here. Double click. Try to find a nice background for my room. Move to the corner. Give the right size. And don't forget to put in the background. So this is my room. And very important, my room has to be identified with a label that says this is the room. whatever. So I need floor number and room number as variables again. So and now I will close this label edition, and I will create in my page floor and room number. But we have floor and room ID. So these variables are already created. We could use this, but repeat, in my examples, I normally create it to show you how I create these variables. So I will create my floor and my room. But F and R are different variables than the F I created before because it was another page. So this is a different page variable because the page is different. So maybe if I say, let's say FL and RM, you can understand that they are different variables. Okay, floor and room, FL and RM, for example, for you to understand that they are different variables. So copy var link, but F and R is enough because if not, the tags are really huge if you put big names. So copy var link, and then I will, this label indicate this is page variable for the floor in this page, and for the room you can edit manually. Okay, this is my room number page variable floor and room. So if I come back to my floor page, then I can maybe trigger, imagine that this is room 0101 or whatever 01 and whatever 02. This is a typical situation in the hotels. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, but every floor they have a number. So I will just put here a label also indicating which room it is in the background, for example, to understand. So this will be room and the floor number. We have a variable for this. Let me copy, and this is the floor and room is 01, for example. And this is room, whatever floor we are, 02, for example. This is the layout that we have in my practical board. So if I want to align these two elements, we can do it, align top, and both has the same aligning, and then
Julio, your audio.
okay, better now?
Yes, normal now.
Okay, thank you. So next is to create a link area to trigger to these rooms. So next step is, okay, let's do it in the floor page. Let's create, in this case, link area is okay because it's rectangular, so it's the shape is enough. So we can just put here, double click, and this is to go to page. The page is room. The view, a third one is possible, okay? And okay, I want to use both variables. What is the floor variable? This is another variable, so I am taking the value from the first page using this F variable from this page. So the variable here is not a fixed value, is this. And the room number is fixed, is 01 in this case. So I just apply. So I need to give values consecutive for the floor. And this value has to be coming from the first page to the second and then going to the third. So this floor number is like engaging one page to another. and then I copy paste this element just to say this is whatever page, but room number 2 in this floor, whatever floor, sorry, but room number 2. So I apply, I will quit the border. In both cases. And now you will understand, because I am finishing almost this explanation to show you how this works. We have now links to this whatever room. So if I go to init, the process is, okay, I have to start always here. Okay. I'm going to floor 1. And now I'm going to room 0101 or maybe 0102. Maybe I can make this a bit bigger. If I change the floor, the rooms are changing also. So I am giving values to the variables, and this is what we get. We can change floors and rooms. So it looks like I have created 4 pages for the floors and 8 pages for the rooms, but it's not the case. It's just the use of the variables what is doing this magic. But I repeat, it's not a magic, it's NETx. So, and then now I will reuse this button, but not here. I will reuse this button here. As a first example, very awful button. Well, if Paul listens to me, it's not awful, okay? It's just different. I have this button for central off, but this configuration is telling me this is for this item, room 0101 central off. But remember, all my aliases have been created with the same structure. And the only difference between the central off for the room 0101 and from any other rooms is these numbers of floors and numbers of rooms. So what if I give these variables instead of the fixed numbers? That's the question. I can change this item ID, removing this and using the variables F and R of this page. So this will take the values that are coming from the other pages, and I can show you as a first example, and I will turn on the camera, that if I am using the variables, let's go to init, let's start. Okay, so for example, going by order, I am now in room 0101, and this item is turning on and turning off these lights. But if I go to floor 4 and room 0402, this button is going to control these other elements. So variables are really interesting, but if you have a proper structure of the items using a clear way to organize these elements. So it's working fine because this data point is present in all the rooms. So the only difference is the floor and room number, for example. So with this strategy or this idea, we can go further. We can go to the room and try to control everything in the room. Because I repeat, my aliases for each room are identical. Identical. The only difference is the floor and room number. But the rest of the things are exactly the same. So close the camera and then start working. Control the lights, for example. Okay, we have, let me tell you, this is the whole light, the bath light, left side of the bed, right side of the bed light that is dimmable, and the ceiling light that is also dimmable. The other 4 are all just on off. And we have 2 curtains. Imagine one curtain for the bath and one for the terrace that is, imagine here in the, we'll put it here in the right part of the room. So how to do this work about controlling the lights or the shutters? We will introduce another concept, that is the group variable. I will just create one widget to control any light. So it will be only one work to control any of the lights at any of the rooms, at any of the floors. So imagine that you have a hotel with 100 rooms per floor and 100 floors. The work will be the same, just creating one page per floor, one page per room, and one widget per light for the lights. So only once. This widget could be created here. It's like a group of elements. I'm not sure if I have one widget created. I don't know if I create it in my previous. No, I didn't create this library, but it's not a problem. But I will create the widget in a new functionality that we have already incorporated, that is the widget editor. So it could be a new page that could be a widget designer page. So that's it. The page size, it's totally user defined. Let's imagine that I want to create a page 400 pixels and 400 pixels. And it's a square, so it doesn't mind landscape or portrait, but this is what I want to create. This is a widget designer page. So here I will create a control for the lights, for example, using a background like this. This background is just a gray background that I will fit to my size with some transparency, because it's interesting maybe to have some transparency. Okay, no, not so much. Opposite, 80 maybe is enough. Okay. And here I will put different things like, imagine a label. A label that will tell me which light I am controlling, like this. And this will include a new variable, light, and then whole bed, left, right, or whatever. So I will just put light here, okay? And at the end I will put the variable, but at the end, because I need to group every of these elements. All these elements has to be grouped at the end. So now I will create, for example, one button to increase or decrease, turn on and turn off the light. Well, remember, it's very simple to put here a button like square LED or whatever. This is much bigger than I expected. So it can be changed this size to, for example, 100 pixels, like this. And the colors are interesting to change, maybe on, yellow, off, gray. And if you don't have quality in the item, could be red maybe. And also here, what to do if you want to turn on and turn on the light? Just get an item of whatever light, the aliases, for example. You need to turn on and off whatever light. So this is what you get, one item for whatever light, but changing, of course, the room, floor and room numbers to the variables. So we need to do it manually because we are not in the page, but we remember it's a key. PG is page variable, and we remember we use F and R for floor and room, so it's not complex. And then also whole light, I will keep this here, but will not be whole, will be another variable for any light. So this will be a group variable. I will explain later on a bit better. So on of whole, but will be not whole, will be a different one. I have to change this afterwards. And then we have also status. So we need to indicate the status of the light. Remember, it's not room 0101, it's whatever room. So we use variables for this. And important, just status is just to receive, not to send. And this is the definition for my light control. So I apply. Okay. But this will not be only for the whole. It will be for whatever light. So on off. Okay, we can use only this button if the light is just for on off. So as you can see, the button parameters is a switch that will change toggle between on and off, but could be different possibles. It could be just toggle so only indicator, and that's it. Different options we have. If you don't like this appearance, you can change to any of these different range of buttons if you want, but it's okay. As a first approach, it's okay for me. But now I will create another elements, like, for example, what happens with me? This has been moved, but not voluntarily. Okay, I will now show you very interesting functionality. I will insert a button, and this button will be for increasing or decreasing the luminosity when we have a dimmer. Relative dimming can be also included in a button with long and short pushing of the button. So first I will change the appearance of this element. So this button is not okay for me, but I will change this. First, than changing the functionality, I will change the aspect of this button. So I will go to appearance, and then I will go to select different images for my button. So I select the files here button, and I can select different images for the off, the on, and the undefined state. If you don't have quality, it could be showing you a different thing. But in this case, I just trying to find a plus image. So if I can find this, no, this is not my, let me try to find it in the last training. I think I have special icons. Yes, because I want this image, this plus. Okay, I like this. Also for the other state and for the undefined state, I will use the same plus. Okay. So if I apply, I need, I think, to indicate size 100, 100. And this is the button I would like to have. Okay. Then I will move the position, but it's not a problem. And now the functionality. And look, this is really interesting. It could be standard button, and it could be many things. These buttons are really complex, but I will select X command button. We will see at the end of the sessions today the xLogic. The xLogic is the tool that allows me to create whatever kind of logic using blocks. It's really powerful, and in fact, in my opinion, easier than creating Lua scripts, because Lua scripts is for non-programmers. For if you don't know how to coding, it's complicated. It's a bit more complex than if you know. But with X commands, with the xLogic module, is more easy. And here we are just using X commands. But look, it's possible to do different things, like defining something to do with the short click, and some different thing to do if the press is long down, and maybe long up. It means when you press more than this time, 500 milliseconds, it's a long down. So the X command to be executed is different than if you do a short click. And if you release after the long down, so means long up, you can do a different thing. So we can emulate a KNX push button with short and long push. So this is what I'm going to do. Just selecting the X command. So we have here this dialog to select which X command you want to use. And we saw this yesterday in a different way when we created actions in the web manager. You may remember in the bottom part of the actions, you could find the right action. So here is this, we have this aspect. We can select an item ID to do this on of the light. This is the function I would like to use. So on of the light, in this case, whole light, this is the item ID. Remember, this is an alias, so it has the name and the structure I want to use. So let me substitute this for page variable floor, and this to page variable room. Okay, and the value to send is 1 bit, is on is 1. So I will send, and I repeat, I will substitute whole for another variable, but it's okay now. I will send a 1 for this element with the short click. And okay, what happens when I press long down? Okay, it will be similar. It will be a right, but not to the on off. I will just copy this text to save time. The item to control whatever light that is dimmable, for example, the bed light, is the dim, relative dim. So this will be floor and room, and dim, well, not bed, but will be generic. And it's important, this is 4-bit. 4-bit format in binary should be plus 100%. So this is the format in KNX for 4-bit in binary. 1 means plus, so increment the light, and the whole range is 001. So this is 1 unit of the range. If you put here 010, it's 50%, etc. So there is a format. This, I will put it here. In decimal is a 9. 1001 is 9. And this is the value I'm going to write here, 9. But I try to explain to you why I write here 9 before, because it's a 4-bit format. It's not percentage. Okay, it's a relative dimming. What I am doing with the long press in KNX buttons is a relative dimming. So this will be my functionality. And then when I release the button, I just say break. So instead of 9, I should say this is the combination, for example, well, or 0000. The question is that last 3 zeros means it's a break. So I can write here in decimal 8 or 0, doesn't mind. I will put 8, for example. And this is the way that I am creating this this functionality for this button. Okay, so I will apply, and I will come back to define the real data point with a generic variable. Okay, but we need also a button for decrement the light, for dimming but going down. So again, I will select different files for this another button, and these files will be the minus, for example. So it's now faster to do this minus for long and short push button. In fact, the first button I create, now you can see this red square, is not necessary because we can do short and long with these two buttons. So on, off, or whatever. But okay, it's not a big job to configure this. So let me put the right size of this button, that you are not seeing this, but it's here. Okay, and the appearance is okay. And now this is interesting also, transparent area clickable, so you can press wherever part of the button, not just when there is a picture. And the functionality is like the other one, an X command button, and we can define short, long down, and long up for my button. And the X commands, I will start with the long because I will get the dims. So long down should be in 4 bits. 0 means decrement. 001 means the whole range. So this is 100% dim down. Okay, this is what it means. 0.001 in decimal is just 1. So, but this is 4-bit, it's not 1 for turn on. That is a different thing. It's 4-bit. So 1 for dimming will be minus 100%. But with the long up function to break, remember 0.000, for example, will be break. This is stop. So stop going down the light. And then the short, it's instead of dim bed, it's on off. I remember, but maybe if you want, we can just search for one on off. And then the name of the light is not important because I will change all these names for a generic one. And off in 1 bit is 0, so it's okay. It's a 0. But bed will have to be removed from here or hole in the other button. But now it's just to configure this. Now I want to align these 3 buttons. I select all, and the reference is the one with the red square. So if I say align top, all the buttons has the same reference. If I say spacing equals horizontally, it takes a proper distance horizontally from this. So this is my buttons, and the last thing, maybe I'll create a slider, for example. Like, why not this one? Slider to increment the value in this case. So double click to edit my slider. Fill color yellow. Fill color yellow. Interior color gray. Undefined state color red. Background transparent. Okay. Important axis maximum value 100. And this is why I was telling you, remember to put the data point correct from KNX. DP data point DPT 5.001 is scaling. That's the right one. Because if not, you will have here only to 0 to 100 will be from 0 to 40% if you are not using the right data point. If you are using default unsigned integer, you will not able to dim the light using value more than 40%. Okay, but it's normally you don't have to think on these things, on these issues, but it's important. And then what is the data point to use? Okay, let me show you. It's the value for the control, but remember, using variables. Okay, yes. And also the status. Value status is for this. Status value, 1%, only to receive in this case. And this is my status value. And I will take this because I will copy because I am applying here. That's okay. But the last thing to do is just to indicate what is the status with a label, for example, label here. A label that is going to tell me what is the status of the light. Object. It's an indicator, and this is the item ID, not for bed only, but for any of the light that can give us this value. And then I can just create a format. So let's say value or current value, 2 points, and then format is 0 2 points to give the format. And if you want, for example, 1 decimal is 0.0. This is what we need to know. And then percentage unit. This is what we are going to get. Text color, yes, it's okay. Okay, so this is my widget. This is my widget. Let me select everything. Because I'm going to group it. Okay. Secondary button in the mouse, grouping, new group. This is the most important step here. New group, graphically fixed, a pop-up group with a name, for example, light control. Okay. And this is my new group. And this element in the background, yes, that's okay. This is my group. And as you can see, we have the possibility as a group to create a variable. And this is the last thing I'm going to do now. Create a variable for this new variable here that will be L, for example, for light. And I copy the var link and I will substitute, well, maybe here I will just indicate what is the light, whatever, light hole, or well, maybe here, whatever light. And then instead of hole, I will use this. The variable will be helping me to identify different lights. So I will just come here and change it's not bed or hall or wherever, it's whatever light. Also for the slider, it's not bed, it's whatever light. And also for this label, it's whatever light. Okay. And this is my widget. already created. Let's use it. Let's go. I will save. Why not? And let's go to my room page. Okay. And let's use my widget. Widget is an element that I can use. I have my light control. Here it is. I want to create it, make it bigger. Yes, thank you. Okay, the variable here has to be created, I think. Maybe move to group. Light control for this element, that's okay. Maybe we have to create a group now. Okay, let me, because maybe the grouping has to be done now. And group. New group. Let's do it now. Light control. Okay, now. And I create variable L, so the definitions is okay. Definitions are okay for this. Okay. This is my pop-up. And what this means, in order to trigger this control of the light, we need to use, for example, link area. So let me show you. It's a link area, for example, for this whole light. So I will show you how this works. No border. And the function is not go to page. In this case, just change the group visibility, which is the name of my group, light control. And I'm going to use variable. Yes. This will be whole. Okay. But again, I will create an object because I want to use a tooltip also. So I will show you. I will create for this object a variable called, for example, ID, for example, or name, doesn't mind, whatever. So I will use this object variable here, ID. So for example, this is the whole, exactly this name. And I'm doing this again for the same reason I did in the first page, to use a tooltip. So this is whatever light, okay? But I'm going to show you another interesting thing. We can make this even higher, even bigger. Let me move these objects properties to this. Okay, because I want to show you something. This element, okay. Tooltip. Okay, I will write here more things. The first thing I will write is another variable.
Julio, the audio.
Okay, now better.
Yes, back to
Okay.
normal.
I'm just creating a new variable to change the line because I want to show more information. This is very interesting. Imagine that you want to indicate what is the type of the lamp or the power of the lamp. So, for example, I am inventing things here. For example, imagine that the power is, and I will create another variable here for this object. PW power. Okay, power is 15 watts. So I just indicate this variable. And then again, ch dot 2 points NL and the model, and I will create another variable indicating my model, M for model, the model of the light. Copy var link and show it here. And I am invented PL34W, whatever. That is just to play with. So it's interesting because with this custom tooltip, we can do things like this. If I start here, you can see in the tooltip, whole light, power 15 watts, model, whatever. So you can include information in your tooltip that is interesting. And of course, if I press the button, I will control the whole light. But we need to do this from the scratch. Okay, no problem. So after doing this, I'm just redefining the control is okay. So I just copy paste this. For the, instead of whole, it will be bath. And maybe the bath is the same model, for example, why not? And copy paste, this is left. So I give names to my lights, but these names are also included in the item ID. So this is the way to control left or right. And if it's not 15 but 25 watts and the name is different, it will change. And then the last two are dimmable. So this is bed, and this is the last is ceiling. Okay, more or less we have all that we need to check. So I will start and check. Selecting our room, floor and room, and then selecting the light. This is not triggering my pop-up. Why? Something is not good here. Let me check it. Just 1 second. Okay. Okay. in the widget page shouldn't be grouped here. Okay. And we group it afterwards. This makes sense, yes. If you make the group in the definition, it's not correct. But here it is. Okay, so all these elements has to be part of the group. It's because it's only one element. Grouping, move to group, and this is the right. Okay. Okay. It's like it's only one element. Let me check. Okay, 1 second, please, because this group is not working, but I normally do it outside of the widgets, so strange because I did this the last training. We did it and it works, but maybe I defined the variable out of the group here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 elements that I'm copying. And pasting here, okay. So 1, 2, 3, this one, and this one, and the last one. Okay. This will not be in the background because if not, it's not able to handle. And okay, let me try now. Grouping, new group. Okay. Now it should work. Now it should work. Sorry for this, but it was unexpected issue. Okay, let me check. It's a pop-up group. Yeah, I understand why it's not working. And definition of these elements are not correct because the group is not ready. Now it should work. Yeah. Okay. Cannot trigger the group because the group was not the same and it was deleted. So I had to do this, but it's really fast. Okay. Only doing this and it's almost ready. And I will stop now the session if and continue afterwards. But I want to show you this working before. Okay, so go to room, select one light, hall or bath or ceiling or bed or right or left, but in the camera you can see that this should work properly. It's room 0101. So if I just select the bed, for example, I can turn on. Right. Okay, it's only 10.2%. If I press long, and break, it's going up. Press long the minus, it's going down, and I release. I press short, it's going off. I press short here, it's going on. So this button is not useful here, but if I change the light to ceiling, the light is a different one. So as you can see, we can control the light in different way. Okay. And if I change the floor or the room, for example, this, I can go to ceiling. I'm going to control this, or maybe bed, and I'm going to control the bed light or the hall. You can see this red button or the path, the other one. So it's working fine. And we just needed to create one group variable for control any light at any room at any floor. So this is very interesting because variables are working fine. But the secret of this is because we have used the concept of the aliases. We have restructured and reorganized the items in this way. So in the next session, we will continue finishing this example using the web manager elements like where is the temperature, what is the calendar or the alarms or whatever, so we can trigger windows for all these elements that are in the web manager, and also represent see how to see this in the browser, because this is the editor, but how to publish it for a web browser, and also controlling the shutters and all these things. So it will be ready for this, and after that I will show you how to create much faster visualization for a hotel, because we have templates for this. This is like a handicrafted version of the visualization. You have to do it manually, but we have tools to make it really, really fast and powerful way. So this was, sorry for the last issue, because I just need to understand better the use of variables when we're using widgets, because maybe it's not necessary to create the variable when you are doing creating the widget, but it's things that happens normally, but at the end we can solve it. So maybe in 15 minutes we can continue if you want, Subanka.
Yes, Leo, thank you. Let's take a break of 15 minutes and then we resume again.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, now we're facing the second session of the journey, of the last day of the training. So now trying to finish a nice visualization, but we need to complete this visualization with the control of the shutters and the indication of different things we have in every room, like temperature, for example, or all these things. So going ahead with the shutter control, for example, I will create another group for this. Again, to repeat for you to remind how we do these groups. The first one was created in the widget, but I'm going to do this here on the fly. The advantage to create this on the widget, the widget page, is that if you want to change the aspect of the widget, and you are using this widget in 100 pages, for example, you have just to do it once in this widget designer page. Any change you do in this widget designer page will be automatically changed in all the replication of this element in the visualization. But in this case, we are customizing the visualization, so I'm going to create another control for controlling shutter. So let me create another background with the same size and opacity. Okay, more or less like this, and it will be placed exactly here. I want to put it here. The interesting thing is that we can hide or show whatever kind of control. So, okay, I don't want to use now the lighting control group, no problem. It will not disturb me for my design for the shutter control. This is what I mean. So you can control lights or shutters depending on what you are interested in control in the same space at your room control. So let me continue with this edition. I just have to control 2 shutters, so I will do it very, very simple thing. No big issue for controlling whatever curtain. So I would say curtain, and it's only path or to raise curtain. So just curtain and some buttons. We can choose buttons from my libraries. It doesn't has to be created from the scratch. We have a lot of buttons here to control, for example, black is nice. And we have shutters up, down, well, maybe blinds. Okay, I was trying to find shutters, but it's blinds. Close. This could be one button to be used. That's nice. Open. Also, open, close, and stop. Stop. Okay. One stop. There is a lot of as a stop, for example, to stop the shutter. So these 3 buttons is okay for me. And then we can include these 3 buttons here. So I repeat, we can have a good reference, aligning, top, spacing equal horizontally. We can more or less get a good aspect of these buttons. So also interesting for me is a label that indicates the height of this shutter. So all the curtains has a position, and we can know this position with a label. And again, I will repeat, sorry. I will repeat. How to do this. I will put here, the object will be an indicator. I will select from my aliases, not a light, but a shutter, and it will be current height of the shutter. So look that the item ID for shutters is exactly the same. We have the structure. We have organized by room. Floor and room number is there important. Shutters and current height, percentage, the curtain of the bath, of the terrace, or whatever. So this is just these 3 things to be changed. We have my variables floor and room number. So I can just substitute this fixed value for variable, page, variable floor and room, and at the end, I will substitute this for the group variable, but not now, because I need to first create the group to get the possibility to get the variable. Text format, current height, and then format is open a key, 0 to points, and for example, with 1 decimal, 0.0, or 2 decimals, I put a hash before the 0 in the decimal part, so the 2 decimals is okay, and then I apply, and this is what I have to do. Just include here value for moving a shutter. So for example, this is a standard button, and this will be not switch, but for example, toggle down. When I press down, I send the item. So now I have to select move, for example, with if it's up, it's 0 in NETx, and then here variables, and the bath name will be removed, but not now. Okay, I apply and say okay. This button is almost the same thing. It will be toggle down. When I press, I will send to this item exactly the same, but value 1 in this case, because it's going down. So it was faster than before. And the stop. Stop is a different item. So when I toggle down, when I press down, I will send a stop order. So I just copy the variable definition for the floor and the room. So I repeat, these variables are my variables, but they are always floor, room, ID, building ID. It's possible to use the ones that the BMS is offering us, but it's okay. So this will be my widget. Maybe I can make this a bit shorter because it's enough. And now I will select everything and group this. Grouping, new group. This will be a group. I will define this graphically fixed. It's important for me. So it's a curtain, for example, and it will be a pop-up again. So as a group, I can create a variable. So I select the group, and I can create a variable. Curtain is C, for example. So the group variable is what I'm going to use first to indicate which is the curtain, for example, and then to indicate here which curtain I am controlling. This and this are different. This, the last one. Current height for curtain, whatever. That's good. So how to pop up this group? Well, we can use a button. Why not? Maybe I will place a button here. It looks awful, but look what I'm doing. I'm just saying, okay, you will change group visibility. The group is curtain for you, and variable will be, for example, bath curtain. And in appearance, I will say, okay, 0 opacity. So it will be nothing here, but I can put here a title. Let me check with 20 is okay. Yes, bath curtain. That's okay. So this element will trigger this. I think I have to, yeah, transparent direct clickable. This is what I needed. And then copy paste. Sorry. Copy paste. And to erase. Curtain. And this will be triggering different curtains, bath and terrace. And the last thing, very interesting, is to use a multi-picture to show what is the position of the curtain. But we have one library already created for this, so I will use it. This is in the hotel, I think. Multi-picture blind position, that's it. This is the one. So for example, the bath curtain, imagine that it's here, and double click. I will edit this. Item ID is the height position. This one. And I have to indicate floor and room number. But this is the bath curtain, so I will not change this. This is bath, it's okay. And there are some change here. I have to change this value because the different pictures that are shown here, there are some like 10 pictures or 11, are scaled 155. So this is not correct. It has to be changed. So I just have to do this once. 9 to 20. It's just 1 minute. To change these values and adjust it to the scale 0 to 100. So I'm almost finished. And finished. So this is for the bath, and now copy paste. Okay. And for example, I will put here for the terrace. So I copy paste and I don't have to do it this change 2 times. Okay, so I just have to change this. Instead of curtain bath, it's curtain terrace. And let me show this last thing to you. I will go to init, start. I will select, for example, first and floor and room. And we have there's some problem with this transparency here, but okay, let me go bath curtain, going up. Current height was 39.22. There is a lack of percentage here. And when they stop, the image, the picture will change, as you can see. Let me move it down. And while this is moving down, I will go to terrace curtain and going down also. So when both finished, they will show me this image updated. This is the position of one and the other shutter. Some issue with this transparency, but I can maybe solve it now. But if I change the room and the floor, it's always the same. So I go to 0402 and to terrace curtain, I can move it down, and the bath curtain, I can move it down, and the terrace curtain can be stopped here. So it will show, well, it has no position. So I will move down until they get position, because they haven't been moved all this time. So now they have reference, and I can move up. And if I stop this, it is telling us what is the height. And if I change the room, it's the same. So it's always working fine for any kind of room. So the only issue here is what happens with now it's transparent. Okay, now it's working fine. It was some issue with the transparency, but it's working really good. So now we have controls for the lights and the shutters, and we can have here both elements to be edited, because you can control the groups, what to show or not. But as they are pop-up groups, when you are starting visualization, nothing is happening except when you select whatever light to be controlled or not. So lights and curtains. So to finish this edition of my room, I will include, let me move this here. I will include something happened. I think also with my status light, no curtain. Let me, yeah, percentage now. It was necessary to indicate that it was percentage. Okay. So I will include the temperature, room temperature, for example. Okay, this will be a label here. Okay, this is label that has to be edited, as an indicator, and I will just going to my room temperature. Okay, interesting, room temperature. But remember, we are using variables to indicate which floor and which room we are using. So copy var link. Floor and room. and that's it. But as you may remember, we have also a view for object properties. And then I will show you one thing. The tooltip here maybe can indicate me the external temperature. You remember we have an outside temperature being recorded from HTTP or whatever. I will put here this value, like outside 2 points, and then there is a variable that is called item value, and when I put here the item ID, I will represent this value here in the tooltip. So let me check what is this item ID. It was in XIO, HTTP, weather, and it was this temperature. So maybe I can copy item ID to clipboard and put it here. So when I am showing you this label that can be also, remember, we can also select a temperature as a limit, for example. I don't know what are the temperatures now. Let me check. But maybe we can take a look on this. Temperatures are 23 in this room, 22.3. Okay, I will put 22 as a limit. 23.2, okay. So about around 23. Okay, so 23 will be the limit in my visualization. Okay, what is the meaning of limit? If it's above this limit, it will be in red. The rectangle will be red, and the color for the text will be yellow. Okay, so let me show you this working. I will go again to init page and start this and see what are the temperatures for the room 0101. Okay, no format. Outside 13.7. Okay, 01.
Julio, the audio.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's okay.
It's a format in my label here because I just forget to put this and create a format. Key 0 2 points, 0 dot has 0, for example, Celsius degrees. Now it's formatted. Now it's much better now. So, and the external temperature outside was being indicated, so it's nice. But also format, we need to format also this tooltip with Celsius degrees with the unit, because if not, it will not be indicated. So let me show you init, start, and now should work much better. It's just a question of seconds to change for all the rooms, because we are only needing to change it once. Now it's correct, and the tooltip is telling me outside, whatever. So we can also indicate whatever. So remember, we have tooltips here that can be customizable. You can control the light, you can control the shutter. You get information here also for this. Whatever room at whatever floor. So you have more than 23. This tag is in red color, indicating temperature is above a specific limit. So it makes sense that the higher you are in the practical boards, the more temperature you will get. Well, 0401 is not 27 nearby. Okay, so it's working fine, and maybe we can finish this design, including web manager windows. Like, imagine I want to trigger the trending for the temperature of the room. That's possible also, even using variables. So let me show you how. I will go to libraries again, and the style black is okay for me. And for example, I want a button to show me the alarms. Okay, let me put it here. Alarms related to this room. Remember, we create alarm for the lights. Okay, it makes nonsense for this, but it was there. Another for calendars, maybe calendar. It was possible to see a calendar about the lights, calendar, and we have also temperatures or a chart. Temperature of the room, it's also possible to be seen. So I will show you these three things for you. Okay, if it's possible to align and spacing better. Okay, so double click and we have to edit this. The object, it's a button, but its function of this button will be a web manager window. So that's also possible. Maybe confirmation. I didn't talk you about this. A confirmation is a message like, are you sure you want to open the alarm, or whatever message, or even a code, code log like a ping, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to know the code to open this window. This is also possible to configure. I didn't mention, but it's also possible. But okay, which element of the web manager window can we trigger? We can trigger alarm lists, calendars, events, trendings, metering charts, and room status for GRMS. Alarm list is the one for this example. Element, okay, and what do we get when we press element? My folder list. So if I go to alarms, lights, they are classified by room. So if I select this, I get this. But remember, we are using variables, so we can still use variables even for this. And also it was important for me to classify and define that templates for the web manager definitions using that structure, floor and room, for example, for this example. And the captions, alarm for room lights, for example. Let me do the same for calendars and chart. So we finish this example. Again, it's a web manager window, and I want to show you calendars. What is the element? We have my events for the lights and a folder per room. That is important also, because if not, you will not see the calendars. And then use variables like floor and room number. And maybe we can use another extra window. So we can have up to 7 windows, 3 views and 4 extra windows for web managing. So calendars, also calendars for room, whatever, lights, or light calendars for room, whatever. That's also possible. And last, let me configure here this button for a web manager window to show you a trending, and the trending will be folder 3, a temperature at this room. That is not 0101, but with the variable is okay. Next window is window 3. Temperature is the caption of the window. At room, whatever. So let's see if it's working fine. Go to init, can start, save the workspace. And for example, let's go to room 402. And if I press alarms, I get a new window here that is here. Okay, I will show you. Window is like here. You can place it, for example, here. No alarms. Oh yes, some alarm because these lights are on. Well, yeah. Curiously, this is the only room with lights on in this case. So you get some alarms. If I select 0401, I change, and then the alarms for this room are empty. No lights are on here, but you can see the caption here. It's changing. If I want to see calendars, for example, it's another window. Let me see if we can place it also here. Yeah, maybe here. And this is the calendar, let's say month for lights of room 0401 in this case. So you can see this is a calendar that you can edit here, sure. You can edit this calendar, this instance or recurrence. So whatever you want to do it. And what happens with the temperature? It's again another. Let me see, maybe we can put it here. And then you can see this chart for this room, but maybe we can change the room to 20201, for example. And then temperature is changing. And look, the caption is changing and this is changing. And if I want to see calendars and alarms are for this room. So we can have, well, I only have one screen, but we can have several screens with all this information. So it's working. And the effort is really small because it's just using variables. But this is thanks to our commitment to have a good structure using the aliases. And I forgot, but I will do it now, to include my backnet elements. You remember we have a do not disturb button and all these things. So I will choose normal buttons here for the D&D and makeup room. So big, a bit smaller, maybe better. Okay. A bit smaller, better also. Okay. You may remember this was coming from backnet. So D&D. Let me put here a small label. Text D&D. Do not disturb. Okay. And this other way, makeup room, for example. Makeup room. Okay. And this button I will configure. Do not disturb. Okay. Maybe on is a red and off is gray, for example. No active. Undefined is yellow, for example, is okay. And then what is happening here? It's a switch button. Okay. And we have do not disturb button and status. But remember, this was coming from backnet. So the item ID, now it's clear, but in backnet was really strange unfortunately, we have to mix BACnet and KNX, but fortunately, we have the aliases for this. So we just have to make this generic using variables. The status is just to receive. Okay. Okay. And then I will copy paste this button for makeup room. Makeup room is MUR for the item, so it's faster to do this slight change instead of changing everything. And the appearance, okay, makeup room, maybe it's green, it's better than, for example. Okay, and let's see this magic. There is another possibility for grouping, that is new group. I will show you something. Let me call this way. Graphically fixed, it's okay. They will move all together, and toggle switch for buttons. What does this means? Internally, only this or this status can be available at the same time. So I will show you as a last example. I start. Okay. Floor, room 1. Okay. And we make it a bit bigger. And if I press this or this, only one can be active at the same time. And if I change the room, the same. And of course, this was BACnet. So let me show you this in real. You remember I told you this is for my 4 rooms. Do not disturb in the left, makeup room in the right. So if I press makeup room, I am in room 0102. The other is off. And if I go back to room 0101, it's working fine. So if I go to floor 4, for example, 0401 will be here. The penultimum, here's floor 401 and 402, for example, the last one. So these were BACnet objects included in my visualization, but with the aliases could be reincorporated in the same folder than KNX or whatever. We can mix it. So the use of a good structure and a clear concept of this item IDs can help a lot. So this is the example I wanted to show you as a last approach for this concept of variables. Okay. Oh, the pity is that this toggle button functionality is only for PC. In the web, it's not working. We should do some logic to do this functionality. So to say, if this is on, the other will be off. But it's not complicated to do this in logic, using some logics. So to finish this design, the design of this visualization, I will show you in a web browser. But for publishing this for a web browser or for a tablet, like using the app, iOS or Android app, that is also possible, we need to go back to the web manager. So first, I have to go to Workspace and use this option, save and transfer the workspace, so this design, to the server. So this is important to do. Okay, I am doing this. That's already done. And then we have to go to the web manager. So I can go from here. Okay, I have a web manager also already open here, so it's not necessary to have it twice. And in the web manager, we have to go to the visualization management. This is important. So we have different projects maybe here that are not interested for me. Now here is not interested in this project. Maybe the airport is also not useful here, but it's here because in some time I open it within this BMS workspace. And then this is my visualization. So this is clear that is my ABB visu, one device. I will explain now. Last time received a few moments ago, and it hasn't been deployed yet. We need to do it. We need to compone or deploy or compile this for the web browser. So this is what you have to do. Have to wait a bit, maybe refresh, and then we see, and this is important, we see that it has been deployed now. So next step is from this projects part to devices to be used. Okay, I can delete these that are not going to be used and this. So I have only this element. The name of the project, the name of my device is created by the visualization and the server, but you can change this, for example, to web client, for example, or whatever name, iPad or whatever name. And then remember, we have a limit in the license for number of simultaneous connections. So this is limited in my BMS. I will show you how to see the number of maximum connections. It's in my server branch license sub-branch. License connections, 3. It could be more, but you have to pay for more. This is just a commercial thing or commercial issue that Subankar will help. But there is a limitation, in this case 3, so means it's no infinite connections, but you can limit. Okay, this can be only be up to 2 persons, up to 2 connections simultaneously. If you put here 10, it makes nonsense because you have 3. So 12 is nonsense, okay? But if you don't put a limit here, it will be the maximum in your license. Okay, this is the second step. I have now my web. This is the name of my client. And if you want to see the visualization, you can do it from here. It's very simple. The link is very simple. It's just the IP of your server. In this case, it will be localhost. But if you want to access remotely, just put the IP of the server where the BMS is installed. And then slash the name of the device. You can see this. This is localhost / web. And if you just remember this, you can access your visualization because login HTML will appear automatically. So it's really simple. If you know the name is web, it's okay. IP / web. And this is how you access to your device. Username, you have to be logged in, admin, change me. And also it's very important, if you have different users, you can define which user sees which information. So now you see, this is my hotel and the aspect is really good. My floor, my room in different pages, as you can see. And then I can control my lights. I can control whatever light. Okay. I can control my curtains. And I can select to not disturb makeup room, but in this case, they are not toggled. They're working fine, but they are not toggled because this toggle functionality was not possible. And of course, I can see my alarms, and I can see my calendar for the lights. In a different window, and I can see the trending. Okay, typical question here. Can I see the trending inside a page like this, or inside a frame? And the answer is yes, it's possible. Okay, but it has to be used some specific ID, because the web manager is giving us what we call internally a WID. WID means a unique identification for this web manager element. So W for web ID. WID is this. So we need to use a specific URL with this WID included. But you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages for my visualization that you can also make smaller. So you can, okay, I can adapt the size of my windows if you want, and it is adapting automatically to this shape. So you can show whatever size automatically is adapting automatically to this. So it's really interesting how can we manage this in a web browser, and how easy it is to publish visualization for any web browser that you may want to use. And I repeat, this is just to use the IP address plus the name of your client, the device web in this case. So rather easy to do it. Okay, localhost/web. But if I open another browser, let me check if I have another browser here, like this Microsoft Edge, for example. Let me check here.
Julio, the audio.
Okay.
It's not fixed yet.
Now
Yes.
okay.
Now, okay.
Sorry, I was just looking for the IP of my computer. Okay, and now it's clear. 184. So I'm showing you just with this IP address/web. I just write this, and then you are asked to log in. And it's working fine in whatever browser. So it's really nice that you can go to whatever browser, and maybe some pop-up windows has to be configured, but that's not allowing me, but it is just a configuration. So but okay, no time for configuring this browser. It's okay. So this was the way to publish this visualization. So that's really nice. And then what I'm going to do before we finish this second session is to show you how to create a really fast visualization. So I will create a new visualization. I will export this before and put it in the Dropbox also, because it's maybe interesting for you to get this example. So I will export this to the Dropbox NETx automation. And this is NETx Online APB, well, Korea and other countries. Sorry for your other colleagues that are not from South Korea, but I just put Korea, but because you mentioned that it was for mainly for Korean colleagues, but apologize for lack of other countries' information. I know that we have some friends from New Zealand, Malaysia, I think, also Vietnam maybe, and also Philippines. So all of you are warmly welcome. But I just put Korea to simplify. So we have our server, okay. The workspace is saved, and I will create a new one. So you will be really, really surprised about this new functionality. We have two examples of templates. So I will create a new workspace, 12. And then I will select ABB GRMS. This is my template. Okay, just say okay. I am prompted to connect, local connection. I will be prompted now to say, okay, we have the possibility to create a hotel project. Okay, there's a whatever image that can be changed. The name of the project, that is Hotel ABB. On building ID for the variables point of view, how many floors? Let's say 20 floors. Why not? And 20 rooms per floor, so 400 rooms. We'll create a visualization. No, 200, no. So I will create, or this template will create automatically all the virtual items definition file, I will see, and generate the X command event definition file. If there is some logics to calculate whatever number of rooms clean or that are going to be cleaned or whatever. Now we don't have all this information. In my BMS Studio, Core Studio, I can show you where to find these virtual items created. So we should go to extensions, virtual item definitions, and this is virtual items for visualization template should be empty. It's empty. But you will see after the creation of this example, it will be full with thousands of data points. So also X command event definitions for visualization templates, it's empty now, but it will be full of definitions in a few seconds. So, okay, I am going to create a visualization project, but also in the background, a lot of virtual items and X commands, no logics for all these 400 rooms, just pressing OK. And then I get, okay, we have created all virtual items and logic events in the config files directory and transfer to server workspace. So it was seconds. And then we get this graphical. Okay, I have to log in. Sorry, I am prompted to demonstrate that I have enough rights to do this project. And then you get in seconds your project. And this project is created with several pages. This is a template from ABB. I will show you now that these tables, extensions, virtual link definitions, virtual item definitions is full of elements. So we have in this 400 rooms hotel example, 12,000 plus virtual items. And if you remember, it was created in seconds. So it's really, well, it's not magic, it's NETx, but it's really, really amazing. And all the logics to calculate whatever number of, in whatever floor or room, number of floors or rooms that has to be cleaned or whatever, all these logics that are behind this example template. And if I show you graphically how it looks like, examples, like for example, for a reception. Let's go reception. Remember, we have 20 floors, so this is the way that we can go to any of the floors. If it's more than 15, we have a next. So you can go to floor number 20, for example. And when you are in floor number 20, pressing this button, you go to the rooms. Okay, pressing. This is the room, 2001, 2015. And if you want to go to the rest of the rooms, just press this button and you go to up to 2020. This is what we can get. So if we go to hotel again, we see all the floors. And you can see the information from each room, etc. So it's really nice. Information about if there is any alarm, any health, any message, if the room is cleaned or do not disturb or whatever. We go back to home page, and there is another example of visualization, for example, for housekeeping in this template. The templates, of course, can be changed. But again, you can go to any floor and then to see the status for this. So it's a different visualization. So you can see these rooms or these rooms. It's a template, okay? You can change also the language. It's in English, but it can be changed to German, for example, or to French, or to Spanish, or to Korean, Japanese, whatever. Because there are variables, workspace variables for the language. It's also possible. It's also using variables here. And for example, engineering, it can show this fourth or third approach can show you whatever information about the temperatures, light status, or whatever. If there is any light on, the presence in the rooms or whatever. So this number of fans or speed of the fan or whatever, all this information can be included. And this is a template that can be changed, of course, adapt, but ABB can use in the hotels. It's just, okay, we have this approach and we can use it. Dashboard is for generic things like photovoltaic production or electrical vehicle charging stations or whatever. So you can also have different information from different floors, whatever. So, well, we need more. If you need more graphics or whatever, you can edit about this. But it's a template and an example of using the power of using NETx automation editor, visualization editor for your projects. So this was also another goal of this training. So I think we can finish in 5 minutes explaining a bit about the GRMS tool. Subankar, maybe it's interesting just to show the GRMS. Maybe we can do it in the last part of the training, but it's just 5 minutes. If you want, we can explain.
Yes, let's do it because it is connected with the main topic we are doing
Yeah.
now. Yes, so maybe
So
it is relevant
it's
to
just
complete it.
a few examples. It's not. We have not enough time to give an example about bring your own device, but they will understand the concept if we talk about this. Okay, you have seen that we have a lot of things to do in the web manager. before I continue with GRMS, GRMS stands for Guest Room Management System. Okay, we have our own solution for this, but normally this GRMS is linked with a typical BMS, property management system for hotel management, like Fidelio, Oracle, or Infor, or whatever. So it could be used standalone, so we can give a solution for small hotels or hotels where they don't have an own PMS, but normally is engaged, is linked with this Fidelio, Opera, whatever. But before we talk about this, let me talk you about Explorer. Explorer is very interesting because here we can see everything. When you are in the alarms, for example, app, you cannot see events. When you are in the events app, you cannot see the alarms, but in the Explorer, you see everything. So it's interesting because here, Explorer part where you can see trendings or whatever is typically used to export. So you can export all these things in a zip file, and I will do this export. In order to move these elements from one project to another. So you don't have to create this every time you do a similar project or whatever. So it's also possible. So this folder, this file can be also copy and pasted in the Dropbox, for example. So now, after this short spin-off of the explanation, I will go to GRMS. So GRMS is really interesting because if you decide to create a standalone solution, let's go to configuration. I will create a folder for 00 rooms. And then you can create your own rooms. Hotel room, like room 0101. And then if you want, you can link to a specific checkout items language to change the language of the visualization for the guest and the name of the guest. That could be possible to create items, virtual items for this. But if you don't do it, look, the GRMS will do for you. So it's really nice because you just save this room, and then I will create very simple way. Sorry, go back to my web manager. I will copy, paste, and in a very easy way, I can create, I'm sorry, it's going, I'm touching the button that is not. So I can create whatever kind of rooms, very easy. Copy pasting. Let me close the visualization editor. I paste. Six times. So I just have to change these names. And you will see that we have this information. Okay. Almost finished. Of course, you can do this also using templates. Okay, it's possible to use a template to create rooms, but it's just 8 rooms and it's not complicated. So what do we have? 8 rooms. Okay. So if I go here and I am in the reception of a hotel, if some customers is coming, the status of the room is vacant. Okay, but I can do a check-in, giving, okay, this room is for Julio, and he speak Spanish, ES for Spanish, Español in my language. So now it's occupied by Julio. And now my friend Subankar is going to come with me. I will put the complete name, but maybe he speaks Indian, for example. Could be also possible. And then let me choose one of you. Mr. Soldatovich, for example, Alexander, I have chosen you for this example. Alexander, or let's say Mr. Soldatovich. And maybe he speaks English or decided to choose English. So what is happening here? I have status of the rooms with specific guest language and etc. And in my core studio, you can see here that I have GRMS, and this information is here. So it's giving me information about check-in, check-out. So I can, for example, interact with the room temperature. If the check-in value is true or false, we can change the status or the mode for the HVAC control, for example. The language is interesting, maybe to change the visualization from the screen that is present in the room, or maybe we were using bring your own device solution. So what does this mean? Bring your own device solution is a specific configuration that allows the end customer to control the room elements using their own devices. So if we configure bring your own device, we should get a QR code when we do the checking. That is not here present because we didn't configure this. But we need to do several steps to do this. We need to use a cloud portal that it's not in the scope of the training because it's a few time to explain many things. Cloud portal is a really powerful tool that we have from NETx automation that can give you the opportunity to monitor several BMS servers as BMS platforms from the same point. From your web manager, you are connecting securely to any BMS, so you can see remotely whatever BMS, make backups, create your own projects for or the links for your bring your own device projects, etc. So it's a really powerful tool for doing all this. Repeat, the scalability from NETx automation BMS platform is unlimited, we can say. So you can create any amount of BMS, you can link them together, you can access with the BMS, the cloud portal solution. Maybe you can create also cluster of BMSs and create a super BMS for a university campus, for a whatever amount of hospital complex. So it's unlimited. The scalability, the flexibility to include different protocols and drivers. So it's really interesting. And in hotel projects also, it's possible to use this bring your own device solution to include this QR code and give to the customer. So automatically, when the customer is scanning the code, an application is installed in the smartphone, if it's Apple or Android, so iOS or Android are compatible, and then the end customer can control this room during his stay or her stay. When they are checked out, the system is automatically saying, okay, thanks for your visit, but you have not control to your room from now. So it's really interesting, this solution. But first approach of GRMS is like this. And we can manage this automatically. So it's really interesting that we can see the way to manage rooms. And if I do, okay, check out, Mr. Julio is not in the hotel now. And then Mr. Subankar is going with me to the airport. And also our friend from New Zealand is going to the airport. So now we don't have any problem. We have all the rooms are now clear and not used, so the temperature can be whatever, and we can turn off all the lights if they are not off. It's really easy to interact with this solution. So I think it's 8 o'clock. Maybe we should stop this second session now. We are wasting a lot of time explaining these things, but I think it's interesting to do this now. 15 minutes and maybe we can finish on the top with the last session explaining a bit of logics. So Wanka, if you want, we can break now. If there is any question, we can maybe try to solve it now.
Sure. I think let's use the time of the break to get some questions. If the we start after 15 minutes and do the concluding session of logic module and xLogic examples, and then we can do a Q&A for all the three sessions summarized. Whoever has any questions, we can address it. So
Okay,
let's break for 15
15
minutes,
minutes.
and then we come back and meet you all again.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So here we are in the last session of the last day, and the only remaining thing to talk about that is in our programming in our program is the logics, all the tools we have to make logic relationship between all these items. We have seen a lot of things about managing the items, integrate different protocols, reorganize using alias or virtual items, manage these items, creating alarms, trendings, using database, lamps module for lighting management, metering module to analyze energy consumption, etc., etc. But sometimes we need a bit more complexity or sophistication in our project. So we have different tools to make these things possible. And I will show you some of these tools with some slight examples of this, because this part is really huge in terms of possibilities from the BMS platform. It's incredible how many things we can do. But with some good examples, I think we can try to show you this power. So first approach will be one example, very interesting, for the item manipulation. We have, as you can see in the Core Studio, we have our temperature in Celsius degrees, but maybe we need to have a similar item in Fahrenheit, for example, value. So how to do this? We can do this in several ways. We could create a virtual item and take the value of this in Celsius and manipulate it and control this and change it. But there is a really nice tool now. I will show you. It's a module called Logic, okay, where we can define a parsing definition. So I will show you what is this with this example. So if I want, I will create a new definition. Okay. If I want to create Fahrenheit, like suffix F for an item, I just have to look for an item. Selector means which is the item you're going to select, like, for example, this one, temperature of room 0101. Okay, it is a float. It's a value, and the data is a float. Okay, access mode, read and write. So it's readable only. And the only thing to do is a function. So in calculation function means when you receive a new value, do this calculation. And what is the calculation to change a value? to change a value from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So you have to multiply your value. So this tag value is also configurable, but normally logic value tag is value normally, but you can change it to whatever. But now we are going to respect this value. Multiply by 1.8 and with a offset of 32 degrees. So this is the calculation from Celsius to Fahrenheit, from Celsius to Fahrenheit. So if I just save, just saving, because as you can see here in my module logic, it's a live. This table is live. I go to the item tree, my alias, my room, and I get my temperature in Fahrenheit. Now it's 73.4. Okay, the problem is that the description is telling that it's Celsius, so there's a problem with the description, but it's Fahrenheit, okay? Okay, but we can also do this massively because I have done it for one room, but how to do this for all the rooms, okay? But it's just a small thing to do. It's not room 01, but in this case, we are not going to use a variable as we know. The floor number are this range from 1 to 2, oh, sorry, 1 to 4. So between brackets, this, and the room number from 1 to 2. And also double backslash. This is important because if not, it will not be interpreted the best way. This is the way. So I'm going to create not only for the temperature of the room 0101, but for all my rooms. So I save and show you the result. Alias, this has the same, but not only this, all rooms are calculating the temperature in Fahrenheit. So this is really nice to do these kind of things. It's really interesting. Okay, so we can manage whatever. If I have, for example, at my home, something that is not corrected, I can correct it. This value is not good because it's multiplied by 10. I can multiply it by 0.1, so I can get the corrected value here, for example. So this is what we can do with this module very easy. So we can define here this, you put here OK, you put here the item, and you put here value times 0.1. Save, and then check backnet. And you have the voltage corrected here. So it's really easy. And then the item ID is exactly the same with the .ok suffix. So the item ID is really easy to identify because it's the original with the suffix at the end. So it's really, really interesting how to work with this logic and parsing definitions with this logic. So for one or for a bulk conversion, it's also possible. If you are not using a data type, it will be string, but if you want to maybe modify this, it will be not a string, it will be a value that you can use in your calculation, because if it's a string, you cannot use in a calculation, for example, to create an average or whatever. Okay, Mr. Tomasek is asking something interesting. In item 3, there is a device monitoring function. If we have a collectible fault signal for all devices, if we're monitoring 100 devices, individual address, I guess, okay, and only one is faulty with one data point, if it's possible. Yes, but you have to do the OR. for this. The logic internally is not done because this is a specific requirement. Normally, we used to create a supervision visualization using icons for each individual address. So in a short view, you can see if not only if one device is not good, but also which device is not good. Because what I recommend is to represent it in a page with the layout of the bus cable and using icons that can be green, for example, and fix it when it's okay, and red flashing when it's not okay. So you can identify very fast which device is not working fine. But if you want to do this with some OR gate, and you have 100 devices, the best way, in my opinion, is using a Lua scripting, because you can do logics with a limited number of inputs in a Lua script. It's, let's say, a bit more boring thing, boring task, but it's really easy to do. And also using X commands, but xLogic has a limit of, I think, 18 inputs per gate. You have to do several X commands to get the result at the end. Not complicated, but it takes some time. But in my opinion, Mr. Tomasic, the best way is to represent it graphically, because visualization is really nice way to do it. Of course, if you just want to have an email, for example, or a telegram that something is happening in line 1.1, this functionality is present, for example, for the lamps module, because this logic is done in the lamps module, but not for this. It's a good, it's an interesting functionality maybe that we can use. But okay, what we can do, it's also maybe interesting. Another thing that I am thinking now, you can configure alarms for any of these elements. Yeah, normally it's possible, but you can do it very easy with a template. So you can create an alarm for each device and just configure this alarm as a specific priority, and then if the number of alarms is higher than 0, you can get an email for this, or you can check. It's another option, but it's just some logic that you may need to do. It's maybe interesting to propose to these kind of things, but everybody can handle this normally by their own. But let me tell you how, if you don't mind. Let me show you something about Lua scripting, for example. So, okay, parsing definition for logic. Next example is using Lua scripting. So, a few minutes to do this. Edit script is showing us a different kind of files, Lua files, okay? And we have different files, but one is the main file. And NXA definitions is the main file that we can open and show you. This file is the central file from the Lua scripting engine, and it is requiring in parallel other processes, because if we only use one file, this is a sequence of executions. So if you put everything in one file, it could be delayed. Some execution can be delayed because you can have some iterations. So from x equals 1 to 1 million to whatever, and x equals x plus 1. So this can be delaying the execution of the rest of the Lua elements. So maybe it's interesting to have this in parallel process, okay? This, let's say, threads, no, in parallel. So, for example, if you want to create our own examples file, it's possible. We just have to do, again, pressing this button and just write a name and open it. This is the way to create a file and open it. Now you will find it now. If I open again here, you will find that we have our examples.lua for us to create whatever example we would like to create. And then it's important to require this file. This is the only thing to remember. I want to require my examples.lua, but .lua is not necessary to put it here. So this main file is helping us to understand what is the process of the Lua scripting in the BMS. There is some specific events when the server is starting and creating the item tree. And this is important to understand. For example, there is an onInit event, for example, that is critical. OnInit event is when the server is colon the initialization of the server process. The item tree is not yet fully initialized, so we can create items, or virtual or custom items can be created here. So as you can see, there is an example when you have different hyphens, 2 hyphens, it's a comment, but if you release this, you can create whatever item. So there is a specific function called nxa.addCustomItem that we can copy to create another item. But what I'm going to show you is how to see how many different functions do we have in our Lua scripting. If you press Control space at the same time, Control key and space bar, you get here all the functions. But if you, for example, write NXA as a filter, only the NETx automation specific functions for the BMS for the Lua scripting are appearing here. So it's really interesting to see Control and spacebar to see all these functions here in this Lua scripting editor. And there is an explanation for all these functions in the knowledge base. This is also very interesting. So I will create a copy of this custom item for you to show how to do this. So copy, paste. I will create ABB item. And then, for example, what are the options for NXA access? So again, if I quit this last part and I press Control and spacebar, you can see the different possibilities, only writable, for example. Okay. And what are the different types we can create? Okay, Control and spacebar, it could be Boolean, data, integer, real, or string. So, okay, let's say it's a string. And this is just the path. So, ABB, office, basement. So these items will be created because these functions are called inside the function onInit event. Okay. Also, for example, the sysxcon with all the drivers I showed you 2 days ago about TCP, UDP, RSS, all these drivers are initialized here. On start event, it's a different thing. On start event, it's called during the server startup, but after the first initialization phase. So in this case, the item fully exists, and this is the moment that you can do this logic, for example. So you can give values to your items, initialize your items here, or add logic functions. And so as I told you, you can create an, for example, add OR, and there is no limit in inputs. So you can put here whatever number of inputs, and the last is the output. So it's possible to create an OR with 100 elements. But of course, I agree with you. It's an interesting functionality, Mr. Tomasic, and maybe we can remind our colleagues to implement it in the next versions. But you know, there is a big to-do list always in this kind of softwares, because but the best thing, and this is a very positive thing, is that we are very receptive to the tips and requirements from your side. So because this is the way that we can improve and adapt our software to the real needs of the people. In my opinion, I would do the representation of the every single element in the visualization. This is my recommendation, because it's okay to know that some device is failing, but it's easy to create a template and create 200 alarms in minutes. So you will not only see that one device is failing, but also which device is failing. And if you get 50 alarms, it's the problem with the line. So normally it's good to have a resume of things, but with this kind of tools where you can easily create your 1,500 alarms in a very simple way, it's a bit more interesting to have the detailed information in real time. And it's not a problem for the integrator to have this resume, because as you can use templates, you can do it very easily. So I would do it, and it's more, in my opinion, complete to get alarms for per each device than only one element that is like, okay, you have some problem, take a look on the building. No, it's better to have, you have a problem with this specific device, go there, exactly there, and go and see. And in parallel, to represent these icons flashing red if the status is off, and green and fix it if the status is on. I think it's really also representative of what is happening in the bus cable about these connections or possible failures in the connections or whatever. Okay, so okay, these NXA definitions, we don't have so much time. It's interesting. You can do whatever kind of processes here, every second, every minute. You can create a lot of functions, but in my opinion, it's interesting to create some new examples for doing something. So, for example, let me do one script to convert a Boolean to a number. Imagine that we saw in the visualization that we have 6 lamps, 6 circuits in the room, and every single lamp has a power, for example, 15 watts, 25 watts, 120 watts, or whatever. So maybe we can know if a light is on or off, not for dimmable, but imagine that we want to calculate an estimation of how much power we have when the lights are on or off. So it's possible to do this using a script, a function, and then calling this function several times, one time, once per each light. So I have these examples already created, so I will just copy paste the text and just showing you what I mean. So this is the function I want to show you. It's a function, so called function, and the name is totally random. You can choose it. Boolean to numeric, for example, okay, or just Boolean to numeric, but also using parameters, value for false and value for true. No, normally value for false is 0, but if you want to put, for example, the biggest lamps, maybe when they are off, they're still wasting 1 watt, for example, or whatever. We can use it. It's more flexible to have both. So this is the scripting. The scripting is, okay, I get the value from a source item ID, and if this value is true, then I will write the value in a destination item ID with this value true, and else, if it's not true, I will write a value false. This is very simple and it's simplified, but it's also interesting. So this is a function that is already created. I will leave it here as an example, and I just have to save this, and I will just use this function with some lights for whatever practical board. And then I will do the addition of this. So let me just save this. Remember the name, B2N, okay, with the parameters. So this is the scripting, and to check if this scripting is working, we can use a task. This is a new thing I haven't shown you. Task definition give me the possibility to, okay, let's use this source item, for example, like the status of one light. Room 0101 status hall, for example. Write, this is a Boolean, but I will write in a numeric. Okay, I don't have any virtual items created for this, but as you may remember, we have a numeric amount of elements for free in the var branch. So source and destination are linked now, but we can link it with in a sophisticated way. So the command in this case could be a write value, write or write a value, set a value, just execute a read, or use a script. This is very nice. And parameters for me will be using the function b to n with these values, 0 for false and 15 bats for true, for example. This is what I just have to do. Call the function and put the parameters, value false, value true. I remind you, this was the definition for my function. B2N, Boolean to numeric, with these values. So I can do this for every single light. Instead of whole, can be bath, and write the resulting item number 2, and maybe they are the same power, but left and right, for example. We are going to write this to items number 3 and 4. And maybe this is 25 watts per each. It's a different kind of lamp, for example. And the last one are bed and ceiling that are more powerful circuits. Imagine that we have 150 watts per each, but there is 1 watt if they are off. So it makes sense to use the value false, because if not, shouldn't be used. So items number 5 and 6. 5 and 6. So this is just an example for you to understand that we can create a function, generic function, and then use this task definition to call this function. Generic function, Boolean to numeric, if we get the value from a source item ID. So it's important to understand source item ID, destination item ID are reference clear for us when I see this column and this column. So it's internally taking this information from source and destination, and if you call the function Boolean to numeric several times, it's possible. We just have to save this and check. For example, bar, numeric, and then alias room 0101. Let me turn on all these lamps. Between numeric. Okay, I understand what is happening. No, it should work. So let me check if I did something wrong. Yeah, what I didn't is to restart the scripting. engine. If you don't restart the script engine, this is never working. Okay, nice. I will turn off the lights now. Room 0101, yes, numeric. Okay. Okay, let me check. B2N, value false, value true. Okay. There is a lack of end in this function because we have only an end for the if, but not for the function. It's my mistake not to check this. The function has to end, not only the if. It's a stupid mistake, but it's okay. We have the system message for this, so something. It's always happening. These kind of things. Let me check now. Okay, now it's working fine. We get these values from 1 to 6. If I turn on the lights, we have these values, but we need to zoom to add these values. For adding, I am going to use a new strategy. The new thing I'm going to use is an X command. So directly, I will open the xLogic tool that is like a, let's say, a mini game. We have the xLogic tool here. I will go to finish the training to create a new command, but now I will open just for you to understand that there is a specific created math add, this one. There is a specific function for mathematical operations to add multiple inputs up to 10. So you don't have to understand anything, just to understand or to see that there is some block already created by NETx automation that is going to add values up to 10 inputs and get this result in a local variable, because you have to decide if you want to write or just set to an item. Write means I will write it to the real field, the device, and set is just put the value in the BMS. And this is possible to, we can even configure and create more inputs if you want. So it's editable. It's not a problem. It's possible to be edited, but not necessary, because I just want to use this. So it was not really necessary to open the xLogic, but I wanted to show it to you. Okay, so I need to write the result in, for example, variable number 10. I want to, because maybe in the future I need more lights. Okay, I want to have the sum of powers of this room in variable number 10. How to use this X command? It's very easy. We go to extensions and we go to X command event definitions, because we need to involve more inputs than outputs. In the task definition, it was just a relationship between a source and a destination. But in this case, we have 6 sources to be added and 1 destination to be written on. So this X command event definition table helps me to invoke. So I will insert name, for example, room 0101, power variable group was not used. Type, very important. When do you want to execute this? On every input change, very typical. On every input change, do this calculation. Or just when the BMS starts, when the BMS stops. When a value change, or value is rising, falling, or is above or below a limit, every whatever seconds, it's also possible. So calculate this every 3 seconds or whatever, or timer an input. But the typical thing is when an input changes, do it. Okay. You can trigger on start, trigger on uncertain value. Well, maybe this is not necessary because we are getting the status from the beginning because we have a read on reconnect functionality. So that's okay. On input, and which is the X command to use. Okay, remember we used this window before in the visualization for the long and short press button, but the X command are a catalog of commands, and we just have to select which one. And then I will need 6 inputs. Only 2 are mandatory, of course, because if you don't add more than 1 inputs, it's not interesting. And then we just have to find, okay, this is the input I'm going to use, numeric number 1, and then you can copy paste, much easier. Please add these 6. And please write in this output number 10, for example. Do you want to write to the bus? No. Do you want to verify the quality of the items? This was also designed. Okay, let me say yes, because I know positively that I will have quality on all the items because they are status and they have the red flag in the KNX field. So I know positively that they are all with a good status. So that's okay. I just go to item 3 and then check again, sending a telegram to turn off the lights, for example, off the lights, and we have the calculation. The power of the lamp number 1 will be now 1 in a few seconds because it is only 2 watts now if they are off, and if I turn them on, it's calculated 380 watts. So you can just represent this in a graphic or whatever. So it's a nice example for you to understand first how to use one function, generic function, to be invoked several times, for example, to calculate this Boolean to numeric number with variables also, not just true or false, makes 1 or 0, because other thing could be, okay, I want just to know how many lights are on. Okay, but the function will be very easy. The true will be 1 and the false will be 0. And then just add these ones and you can have 6 lights, 4 lights, 3 lights. But I tried to create a bit more sophisticated example. So with this example. So, but if you want just to function to convert true or false to 1 or 0, we can copy paste this, and it should be just this. Boolean to numeric bis, let's say, and then I write a fixed value, 1 or 0. That's the thing you have to do. And then you have to invoke this. For example, in the task definition, it will be very easy. And then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. And the function to call is this, Boolean to numeric bis without parameters. What I don't remember is I have to put the brackets, but I will check. Save and test, very easy. Status are the same, so I just can try here sending 1, 0, sorry, that the lights are on. And no, it's brackets are necessary here, sorry. No parameters, but the brackets are necessary. And in the script, maybe, yes, also brackets are necessary here. So I will save and restart the script engine. I'm not good doing scripting, as you can see. Nobody's perfect. And still, okay, now the problem is that I put the brackets in the task definition where they are not needed. It was needed. So the third is the last. What happens between these? I don't see any issue. Let me check if it's the problem. Yeah, this is the problem. At the end, yes, you have to to use brackets here. So my memory is. I need more coffee, I think, Subanka.
Sure.
Important coffee for your brain, or sugar, maybe. Okay. Yes. So
Take
this
your
is an,
time.
yeah, thank you. It's just to understand that we can have also number of lights. Okay, so again, to finish this sample, modify example, I just copy paste this power number of lights. It's a math add, but we are just taking 11 to 16, for example, and write the result in item 20, for example. On the fly, we can just do some test. So this should work really nice. So we can turn on the lights and you have the power and you have the number of lights there. So 6 lights, 380 watts. So it's really nice to see how this works when you don't forget to put brackets, etc. So the last light takes some time to turn off, but at the end, 0 lights on, 2 watts. Okay, working. And finally, to finish, it's 9 o'clock, but if you don't mind, we will take a few time. I would like to go back to the web manager and show you last example. Not this, but this. Okay. If you remember, we had an alarm for the lights. For every single light, we had alarms. Okay. And we can see this in the configuration. Alarms, lights for room, or whatever. But we didn't use actions. We didn't use actions. We can create actions for this. I will do it, but not, well, in the alarms, it could be possible also. Let me modify the template. Let me show you how easy it is to do this. I can create actions in my template, and then create a name, Telegram on for this, and Telegram off for whatever. And what is the action? A logic that will be an X command that is a messenger. Send a Telegram message. There is a profile, I will show you, this is already configured, and a text. But this text is fixed. So light, whatever, add room, whatever is on. This is a Telegram that will be sent to this profile. I will show you this about Telegram profiles now, but it's also easy to configure. And then another Telegram, could be an email if you want, but it's a Telegram message that says using this profile. So this will be coming to my smartphone. I will show you. Light, I will say okay for off. That's a different message. And I save, and this is the template. So if you remember, we had to implement this template, and I am thinking if I have deleted the file. I will check. Apply a template, alarms for lights, select the file, and it's not here. Let me check, because maybe I have deleted. Yes, I have deleted, but I have maybe in the, okay, open. Okay, this is here, alarm for lights. So fortunately, I didn't empty the trash bin. So I will use this file, if you remember. So
Julio, the audio.
so you can see 96 action aided, but just alarm condition just updated. So we can create this for the alarms. Now we have the alarms, we have the telegrams for every single light and status. So we have updated and improved this using the variables, okay? And then we can check if it's working or not. How to check this? Let me turn on all the lights. Massively. And let me check my smartphone, because and it's not configured here, this bot. Okay, it should be. It's my mistake. It's not possible to see the telegrams in my computer, but it should be sending. Oh, it's no profiles of Telegram configured, really. Telegram. Okay. It's not here. Token and chat ID. So maybe this is the reason why it's not working, but I can copy from my computer, and maybe it's easy to solve. module, messenger, Telegram. This is the token. It's explained also in the knowledge base how to do this. And this is token, and chat ID is for a specific device. So you can have the same token and send to different devices, to different persons with different chat IDs. It is explained, I repeat, in the knowledge base how to do this. So let me check now if it's working now. And yes, it's working fine. Okay, we get all this. And if I turn on the lights, you can see all the telegrams coming from the BMS. So it's fantastic. It's working really nice. Telegram is like a WhatsApp, you know. So, and finally, this is quite good, but there is something that I haven't explained, and this is I promise, the last thing I will explain to you. Okay, so Telegram is working fine, but there is one thing that is left to explain. I will do just a test for you. Conditional event. So I will add a conditional event that is really interesting. For example, to estimate or to supervise a temperature, temperature supervision, for example. So there is a condition that we have to meet. So let me create a condition here. Now I write higher properly, higher than limit. And the logic is, for example, let me check whatever temperature. So greater or equal, what is the item? I will select not a real item, but a bar, real one, for example, because I want to modify it. And the limit can be number 23, for example. Okay, this is an item that I will supervise. So this is the condition, and this is very interesting. Now we can have an action when it's the first time this will become from false to true. So the first time the temperature is higher or equals higher than 23, we can send a telegram. So let me select, which is the action to do. Okay, first message. Occurs. So the first time occurs, I will send a messenger send telegram message. So it's just a fixed text. Temperature is higher than 23 Celsius degrees. This is clear, but the question is, okay, and now this action, it's clear for me. And what happens if the temperature is coming down? Okay, I will copy and paste this last message. And edit this. Temperature is okay, lower than 23 Celsius degrees. So this is clear, that will work. But the problem is, what happens if the temperature is going up and up and up and up and up and up and up? You don't know what is the temperature. You just get one message time ago where the temperature was more than 23. That's okay. But what is the temperature now? When you use this X command, send telegram message, you cannot include values. It's just text. But we can create our own X command. That is the promised last example. We can create our own xLogic. We can create a new command, and I will do in a few seconds. New command which name is totally random, like abb dot, because I want a folder Telegram custom, for example. Is there any input? Yes. To supervise. Input. Temperature. Is there any output? No, because I don't want to write anything. Is there any parameter? Yes. The parameter is the destination. Destination for the Telegram. So any type? No. It's a, look, messenger profile Telegram. So it's really sophisticated. You can select a lot of things. Items, instance, about WIDs, about the web manager. Really sophisticated. But in this case, and to make it fast, it's just a parameter. So we have this header, and we just need a command to execute because the comparison is not done here. If you want to do the comparison in the X command, it's also possible. It's not a problem, but it's not necessary. We just have to do one thing: send a message with rich information. This command has to be edited, and I will go directly. What do you want to do is go to Messenger and send a telegram. This is what I want to do. Send a telegram. But this telegram, as you can see, we have several things that we can do. But this telegram has a profile to be used. So a profile is a parameter. So functions parameter value is what I have to do. Select parameter destination, and this is the profile to be sent, or the profile for the destination. And then what you want to do, send a text. What is the text? This is string add multi-string. So I want to compound a text with different things, like fixed information, like string. Hello. The temperature is now is rising. Take care. Current value is, and this is fixed text. And what is current value? We have my input item and the value of this input item. Select from all the inputs only one. What is the value? It's whatever value, but I have to convert this to string. So let me conversion. Use convert to a string this value. So I can convert to string. So it could be a text included here, because if not, the BMS will do the conversion, but without format. So maybe with 10 decimals. So I can put a format here, no decimals or 2 decimals. So this is just to know what is the format to include this. Then this is Celsius degrees, but we could use also property of the item. Could be also possible to use, but I'm not going to annoy you with several things. Celsius degrees. Okay. This is my text. So, hello, temperature is rising, take care, current value is whatever. Okay, fantastic. Enough. I will just check if something is wrong. Nothing is wrong because I have selected parameter and input values. I will compile this and I will save this. So I have my abb.telegram custom X command created. So I will exit this tool and I will just use it. In the web manager window, I will come here and say, okay, look, If the action is true and again true, so this is a consecutive inputs that are showing us that the temperature is again higher and higher and higher, I can select a different action. This is the most interesting thing. A different action that will be, okay, I will open and create an action. And this action is consecutive message, for example, let's say. And my X command will be, oh, here is not an ABB folder because that's interesting, because we still have to come here to tools, execute, no, not Lua, sorry, tools, load X command, this X command. Now I will find it. So here I will select and maybe I have to close and back again. A new action, consecutive messages, and now it's here. My ABB Telegram custom. What is the input? The input is my item here. I can select it here, and which is the destination? This. So just this will make us see this working fine. So I just need to do this, delete, clear history, and change this value. So the item is real 001. I will write values here. So I now have for example 23, and I have a message here. Temperature is higher than 23. Maybe I can see this smaller. But if the temperature is rising, well, maybe let's say, okay, 22 again. Let's write here 22 to see that this is working fine. I get a new message. Temperature is okay, lower than 23. Fantastic. Now it's again 23. We get a new telegram. Temperature is higher again. But if the temperature is rising, now it's 23.56, for example, what happens is that the message is different. This says, hello, the temperature is rising. Take care. Current value is whatever. So this is demonstrating that this, and this is a final example for you, that with the conditional event, we have really powerful ways to interact with our end customer and give them more sophisticated information. And with the X commands, we can create our own actions, our own X commands in the xLogic tool. So, and this is the end of the explanation of the examples. So I'm happy to say that questions, we are open to that. Sorry for the time because it's 20 minutes over the time. But I will be here if you want to, if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to solve it. And if you don't have any questions, thanks so much for your attendance. So
Okay, let's have the questions.
at the end, we could manage to explain almost everything that was in the in the in the
In the
timing.
agenda.
Yeah,
Yes. Thank
but
you, Leo.
it's really complex and sophisticated. So there is much many things that you can do, and the bring your own device, for example, is a nice example, but takes 2 hours maybe to explain it. So maybe for next trainings it could be explained, or whatever other drivers that we can integrate. It also takes time. Modbus, for example, is an interesting driver to explain, but it's easy to handle, because when you know how to handle with devices and data points in Modbus is the same, but manually has to be done, has to be configured manually. So it's not complicated. The BMS is prepared to incorporate whatever kind of amount of whatever kind and amount of data points, and then combining them together with the aliases or with the virtual items, and then we can manage with the web manager, and then we can also visualize it, as you have seen. So it's really interesting how the BMS is making the integrator's job easier. So this is our first aim, is to have a reliable solution, but also simple to work with for the integrators. So this is also very important from our side. Scalability is not a problem. We are flexible for integration. Many drivers, also even native drivers or protocols, are also customized proprietary protocols, scalability and flexibility, and also reliability. So this is three very important aspects of the BMS, and easy to do it. Now, 95% of the things can be easily done with using tables and Excel and all these things. So it's not a problem. And we are getting more and more improvements. We are open to get your tips and your requirements, of course, and trying to incorporate everything as soon as possible. Sometimes it's possible, sometimes it takes more time, but I think you have a very nice tool to use for your projects. So please, if you have any questions, we are here for help. So thanks for your attendance, and open to receive your comments. If you don't have my email, I can write it in the chat. It's julio.diaz@netexautomation.com. So, and that's all from my side. If you don't have questions, we can go to the next coffee, and we can wait here for some minutes also, if you like.
Yes.
Subankar.
Thank you, Julio, for the 3 days extensive training. I think the idea was to share with all of you all the fundamentals of the software. This is important that you know the different modules, how principally the software works, and as Julio also said that across different protocols, the methods or the way of doing using the tools are the same. It's just the protocols are different, but you do it exactly in the same way. So the way certain tables work for KNX, it also works in the same way for BACnet. So this is the commonality that we wanted to show you today. This is in last 3 days. This is number one. Number two, what is important would be that you please follow up this training with the recording, downloading the software. I mean, put it to test, make some small integration. And then thirdly, of course, if you have upcoming projects where you are planning to deploy the software, uh, please come back to us with your requirement, and then possibly we'll see that with all this recording and knowledge base articles available, you'd be able to do 50, 60, 70% of your work by yourself. And then wherever you are stuck or not able to progress, we are here to help. I'll also put my email address. Of course, I'm well connected with all the colleagues from ABB, but still, if you have any other comments, you can contact us directly. So this is more of a foundation training we wanted to cover, but learning continues for all of us every day. So we hope that the session was useful, and hopefully by tomorrow we would be able to share in a formal way all the recordings and workspace and everything in one place, and you can share it with your colleagues probably who could not join this session. and they can continue with those resources in coming days to learn the software. So that's mainly from our side. On behalf of everyone in the company, we thank you for your attention for the last 3 days, prioritizing this training, keeping aside your other important works. Really appreciate it. Big thanks to Julio for his early shift, 5 o'clock Spanish time, and taking us through all the details. Julio, your audio has to be fixed one last time for this session. Yes, so that's all from my side. We will be here online for next few minutes in case there are some questions. All participants have been unmuted. That means you can unmute the microphone button from your side and ask a question to us.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
I hope you can hear me well now.
Yes, now
Okay.
now we hear you well.
Sorry for the audio issues, but Subankar was really fast to tell me audio issue, 5 seconds problem, but not no more.
Yes,
So we are improving time and time. We are a good team in NETx automation always. So really nice.
absolutely. Yes,
And this is the best thing we have found. I have found cooperating with NETx is that I have found really good friends also, really nice people all over the world also. So it's nice to see that. That you are always positive, and also our customers are always positive because they understand that this tool is positive for the projects and for the end customers, and this is always a win-win situation when using NETx automation, and this is what makes me happy also, that is
absolutely.
useful, and
Yes,
the training tries to be useful, and we only have 12 hours to explain all these things, so it's really a challenge for me, but I hope
correct.
we have been helpful and enough accurate in the
Absolutely.
explanation. So thanks so
Yes,
much for your attendance, and happy to know new friends maybe in the future in different countries. If you need us, we can also go there and give presential trainings. I told Subankar that it's also a
yes,
possibility. We are doing this in Europe. I am doing this in South America. We have been in Australia. We have been in India. We are going next week to Dubai. So we are also present in the countries if necessary. So maybe in the future
absolutely.
we can face to face know each other and uh, and have a nice sessions in your local country. So for me,
Absolutely.
it's open to you.
And Julio, I think with this online training, which shall really work as a good foundation for any face-to-face meeting, because sometimes this really works as a good backup for people coming for a face-to-face training. And also, I missed to mention, apologies for that. In the meeting today, we also had two of our colleagues, Mr. Abhiram and Miss Namrata, also from the NETx team, and possibly we'll meet them in some future support calls. They're from the technical department, and they were also here today to be with all of us. So thank you for their participation as well.
Yeah,
And
thank
with
you.
that, I would like to uh, formally end the session and hope to meet you guys online or physically in incoming days.
Thanks so much for everybody. Thanks, Wankar,
Thank
for your
you.
support.
Most welcome. We
Thank you.
remain online in case there are some last questions. But yes, Julio, you can probably stop the recording now also,
Okay.
and we'll be here for next couple of minutes to receive any questions.